Many people spend their lives running after money, believing that if they work harder, push more, sacrifice peace, and exhaust themselves, then success will finally arrive. Yet despite endless effort, the heart remains restless, the mind remains anxious, and satisfaction never settles. Islam teaches us something deeply different. It teaches that rizq is not chased, it is received. It is not grabbed by force, it is granted by Allah. Allah reminds us that He is our Razak, the one who provides without limit. Long before you were born, your provision was written. Not just how much you will receive, but when, how, and through what means. When we forget this, we begin to believe that money comes only from stress, shortcuts, and constant fear of loss. That belief itself becomes a source of poverty of the heart, even if wealth appears in the hand. The Prophet taught us that rizq follows a person just as death follows them. This means what is meant for you will reach you, even if you do not chase it desperately. And what is not meant for you will never benefit you, no matter how tightly you hold on to it. This understanding brings calm to the soul and clarity to effort. Islam does not teach laziness, it teaches balance. You strive with honesty, but your heart remains attached to Allah, not to numbers. True increase in rizq begins when a person corrects their relationship with Allah. When prayer becomes consistent, when earnings become halal, when intentions are cleansed from greed, and when gratitude replaces complaint. At that point, something powerful happens. Even if income does not suddenly multiply, life feels lighter, expenses feel manageable, and peace settles in ways money alone can never buy. Many people are wealthy, yet constantly afraid. Others have little, yet live with dignity and contentment. The difference is not income, it is barakah. And barakah enters where Allah is remembered, trusted, and obeyed. When you stop chasing money and start chasing Allah's pleasure, rizq finds you in forms you never expected. Through ease, protection, relationships, and inner peace that no currency can purchase. If this understanding enters the heart, a person no longer lives in panic over the future. They work, they plan, but they sleep peacefully knowing that the one who provides today will provide tomorrow. This is the secret Islam offers to a world exhausted by endless chasing. Many people understand rizq only as money, salary, or material possessions, but Islam presents a far broader and deeper definition. Rizq includes everything that sustains a person's life and well-being, health, peace of mind, faith, knowledge, supportive relationships, time, protection from harm, and even opportunities that arrive at the right moment. When Allah declares Himself our Razak, it means He provides for His creation in ways that go far beyond financial income. Limiting rizq to money alone causes people to feel deprived even when they are surrounded by countless blessings. From an Islamic perspective, two individuals may earn the same amount, yet one feels constantly stressed, dissatisfied, and fearful of loss, while the other lives with calm, gratitude, and stability. The difference lies in barakah. Barakah is the unseen increase that Allah places in rizq. It allows limited resources to be sufficient, problems to feel manageable, and life to feel meaningful. Without barakah, even large sums of money become a source of anxiety rather than comfort. This is why Islam emphasizes the quality of provision, not just the quantity. The Quran and Sunnah repeatedly remind believers that Allah provides for every creature. Birds leave their nests hungry in the morning and return full in the evening, not because they hoard or obsess, but because they trust the system Allah has placed in creation. Humans, however, often burden themselves with excessive worry, forgetting that sustenance is not created by effort alone, but by divine permission. Effort is required, but it is not the ultimate source. When a person recognizes that rizq includes guidance, emotional stability, patience, and protection from what could have harmed them, their perspective changes. They stop comparing their lives obsessively with others and begin to recognize their own unique blessings. This mindset reduces envy, greed, and desperation, emotions that often push people toward unethical earnings or constant dissatisfaction. Islam teaches that a small amount received with gratitude and halal means is better than a large amount that destroys peace and faith. Understanding rizq in this holistic way also protects mental health. A person who believes their worth and security depend only on income lives in continuous pressure. But when they see rizq as something Allah distributes with wisdom, they gain emotional balance. They work responsibly, but they no longer tie their self-worth to financial outcomes. They value health, faith, family, and inner peace as part of their provision, not as secondary benefits. This understanding builds contentment without killing ambition. A believer continues to strive, learn of, and improve, but without panic or obsession. They know that what is written for them will arrive at the right time, in the right form, and with the right impact on their life. One of the most powerful principles Islam teaches about rizq is that it is already decreed by Allah, yet it is accessed through lawful effort and ethical conduct. This balance removes two extremes: laziness on one side and obsession on the other. A believer is not commanded to sit idle waiting for provision, nor are they instructed to chase wealth at the cost of faith, character, or inner peace. Of rizq reaches a person through the means Allah allows, not through desperation or compromise. Islam clearly distinguishes between striving and chasing. Striving is purposeful, disciplined effort done with trust in Allah. Chasing is restless, fear-driven pursuit fueled by comparison, insecurity, and the belief that one must control outcomes at any cost. When people chase money, they often sacrifice prayer, family, honesty, and emotional stability. Islam warns that such pursuit drains barakah even if income increases. What appears as progress outwardly often hides internal collapse. The Prophet taught that no soul will die until it has received its complete provision. This teaching is psychologically liberating. It removes the fear that someone else's success has stolen one's share or that unethical shortcuts are necessary to survive. When this belief settles in the heart, a person works with integrity, knowing that dishonesty cannot increase what Allah has not written, and honesty cannot reduce what is meant for them. Halal effort attracts divine support. When a person earns through lawful means, even small actions carry unseen blessings. Time becomes productive, expenses feel lighter, and unexpected doors open. In contrast, income gained through questionable means often brings hidden costs, anxiety, guilt, family conflict, and spiritual emptiness. Islam teaches that true loss is not earning less, but losing peace and faith while earning more. This principle also reshapes how people deal with setbacks. A delayed promotion, a failed business, or financial difficulty is not always a sign of deprivation. It may be protection, redirection, or preparation. Allah may block one path to open a better one later, or to save a person from harm they cannot yet see. Trusting this wisdom prevents bitterness and despair. When effort is combined with tawakkul, the heart remains calm even in uncertainty. A believer plans responsibly, seeks knowledge, and works diligently, but leaves outcomes to Allah. This mindset reduces chronic stress because success is no longer measured solely by immediate results. Instead, success becomes faithfulness to principles, patience in difficulty, and consistency in effort. Such an approach creates long-term stability. It prevents burnout, preserves relationships, and protects spiritual health. Wealth gained without losing oneself becomes a means of worship rather than a source of anxiety, and provision received with trust becomes a source of strength rather than fear. A central reality many people overlook is that rizq is not measured only by numbers, but by barakah. Islam teaches that two people can earn the same amount, yet one lives in constant stress while the other experiences ease, satisfaction, and stability. This difference is rooted in contentment and gratitude, not in income itself. When the heart is constantly chasing more, nothing ever feels enough. But when the heart is trained to recognize blessings, even limited means can feel expansive. Gratitude in Islam is not passive appreciation. It is an active spiritual state that reshapes perception and behavior. The Quran makes it clear that the gratitude attracts increase, not only materially but emotionally and spiritually. A grateful person notices opportunities others ignore, values what they already possess, and uses their resources more wisely. This mindset naturally leads to better decisions, fewer regrets, and healthier financial habits. Contentment does not mean lack of ambition. It means freedom from comparison and desperation. When people constantly measure themselves against others, their desires multiply faster than their capacity to fulfill them. Social comparison fuels dissatisfaction, impulsive spending, and emotional exhaustion. Islam protects the believer from this trap by teaching them to look inward rather than outward, and upward toward Allah rather than sideways toward people. A heart anchored in contentment experiences psychological relief. Stress often comes not from lack, but from perceived inadequacy. When a person believes they are always behind, always late, always missing out, their nervous system stays in survival mode. Gratitude interrupts this cycle. It shifts the mind from scarcity to sufficiency, from fear to trust. This mental shift alone improves clarity, patience, and resilience. Barakah also manifests in how resources are used. Gratitude encourages responsible spending, generosity, and long-term thinking. When people respect what they have, they waste less and plan better. Small incomes stretch further. Debts feel lighter, and financial decisions become calmer rather than reactive. Islam connects gratitude with ethical behavior because appreciation naturally leads to care and restraint. This principle also protects faith during hardship. A person who practices gratitude does not deny pain or difficulty, but they refuse to let hardship erase awareness of Allah's mercy. They understand that ease and hardship coexist, and that blessings are not cancelled by tests. This balance prevents resentment and preserves spiritual health. When gratitude becomes a habit, rizq stops being a source of anxiety and becomes a tool for growth. The heart learns to rest, the mind gains clarity, and life feels guided rather than chaotic. Even when resources are limited, one of the most counterintuitive principles Islam teaches about rizq is that giving does not reduce wealth, it expands it. From a purely material mindset, charity appears to be a loss, but Islam reframes it as an investment that multiplies in ways the human eye cannot immediately measure. When a person gives sincerely for the sake of Allah, they are not transferring ownership away from themselves. They are placing it under divine protection and growth. Sadaqah works on multiple levels at once. Spiritually, it purifies the heart from greed and fear of scarcity. Many people chase money because they are afraid of not having enough, and this fear silently controls their decisions. Giving breaks this fear. It trains the heart to trust that provision does not end when money leaves the hand. This trust reduces anxiety, softens attachment to material things, and creates emotional stability, which itself is a form of rizq. Psychologically, generosity changes identity. A person who gives regularly begins to see themselves as capable, resourceful, and supported. This mindset affects behavior. They become more confident, less desperate, and more ethical in their financial dealings. Research in behavioral psychology shows that generosity increases well-being, reduces stress, and improves decision-making. Islam embedded this wisdom centuries ago by making charity a consistent practice rather than an occasional act. Socially, charity strengthens relationships and opens doors. When people give, they earn trust, goodwill, and respect within their communities. These social bonds often become sources of unexpected opportunities, support, and collaboration. Rizq is not limited to salary or income. It includes help, connections, ease, and timely assistance. A generous person often finds help arriving at moments when they need it most, even if it comes from places they did not anticipate. Islam also emphasizes intention. Charity given to impress others loses its spiritual impact, but charity given quietly and sincerely carries barakah. This sincerity aligns the heart with divine wisdom rather than human approval. When actions are aligned with higher purpose, life begins to feel guided instead of forced. Struggles still exist, but they feel meaningful rather than random. Another overlooked aspect is that charity refines character. It builds empathy, humility, and patience. These traits directly influence how a person handles work, business, and responsibility. People with strong character tend to retain opportunities, manage resources wisely, and recover better from setbacks. In this a core principle Islam emphasizes in increasing rizq is developing complete trust in Allah while continuing to take lawful action. A balance many people misunderstand. Tawakkul is not passive waiting, nor is it anxious overworking. It is the state where the heart is fully reliant on Allah, while the body continues to act responsibly. When this balance is missing, people either fall into stress-driven chasing or unrealistic expectations, both of which disturb inner peace and block barakah. Trust in Allah directly affects how a person experiences provision. Two individuals may earn the same amount, yet one feels constant pressure and dissatisfaction, while the other feels sufficiency and calm. Islam teaches that true rizq includes peace of mind, emotional stability, and contentment, not just numbers in a bank account. When the heart trusts divine wisdom, it stops comparing itself with others, which is one of the biggest causes of financial anxiety and spiritual unrest. From a psychological perspective, trust reduces cognitive overload. Constant worry about the future drains mental energy, weakens decision-making, and increases impulsive behavior. Islam protects believers from this cycle by grounding them in the belief that provision is written, timed, and delivered with precision. This belief system creates resilience. When income fluctuates or plans fail, a person with tawakkul does not collapse emotionally. Instead, they adapt, reflect, and continue forward with dignity. Islam also links trust with gratitude. A grateful heart recognizes existing blessings rather than obsessing over what is missing. Gratitude shifts focus from scarcity to abundance. This shift is powerful because it changes how a person interacts with opportunities. Grateful people tend to notice openings others ignore, maintain ethical standards under pressure, and sustain motivation over long periods. These traits naturally support long-term stability and growth. Another important dimension is patience with divine timing. Many people lose barakah because they rush outcomes, accept questionable shortcuts, or compromise values due to fear. Islam teaches that delayed provision is not punishment, but preparation. During waiting periods, character is refined, priorities are realigned, and emotional maturity develops. When provision finally arrives, the person is capable of handling it without arrogance, waste, or dependency. Trust in Allah also frees a person from the illusion of control. This does not weaken ambition, it purifies it. Goals become purposeful rather than desperate. Effort becomes disciplined rather than frantic. Life feels guided instead of chaotic. This internal alignment attracts consistency, clarity, and steadiness, which are essential for sustainable rizq. Ultimately, tawakkul transforms the relationship with wealth itself. Money stops being a source of identity or fear and becomes a tool for responsibility, generosity, and service. When the heart is anchored in trust, rizq flows with balance, meaning, and quiet confidence. If this inspired you, share it with someone in need and strengthen your faith by acting on these lessons today.